Welcome back into episode 47. So in last week's video you saw me put the steering rack back in, we put the engine mount in, the cross member, all of that stuff. So this week I want to sort of press on and get start with the pedal, I guess the brake pedal, start working my way forwards from the brake pedal, getting the boost and all those side of things in, and ultimately I want to end up at the calipers. So whether I can get there in 1 week is going to be a challenge, but that's what I'm trying to do. Once all the brakes in, we've got the suspension on, then we can start talking about things like the fueling system, the electrics, and we're stepping slowly towards getting that engine back in and running, which I'm really looking forwards to. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the video. Please remember, click subscribe, click the like button, leave me comments, all of that stuff. But let's just dive on there and see where we go. So I'm just starting to strip out the pipework over this side of the engine bay, partially to clean it all up, but also I want to replace the brake lines that come across here. Right, the problem with this brake line is that it's actually, as I undo the nut, it's winding the line up and twisting it around. But I want to maintain the original shape, so I'm actually just going to cut it off so it doesn't completely destroy the shape of the line lower down. And then I know that this top bit just bends and goes into the fitting. If I can get a pair of pliers that will cut it. Right. Now we can just whip this one out, not care about the damage in the line, and recreate it using the other one, the other end of it. Right, I've just cut the line here, which is the one that runs from the master brake cylinder all the way around to this point. It also has corroded and sort of become stuck onto the fitting, so as I undo it, it will just wind up this pipe and deform it. And I want to use that as the template, you know, to make the new ones. So the quickest thing and easiest thing is just to cut it, and then I can take out the entire line, less the fitting, and just sort of, you know, guess the correct length. It's only about 1 centimetre or so that I've got to add on. Right, today's project is to try to recreate one of the hard brake lines. This is the driver's side one. Basically this end goes into the master brake cylinder, goes down the wing, cuts through the wing at that point, and then touches the flexible brake line that goes to the caliper. So I've got the pipework here, and what I need to do is work out how long to create it. So I'm going to use a bit of string and just sort of go along the existing or the original pipe, and then obviously measure the length of the string. Then I can cut it and know that I've got approximately the right amount. I'll do it a little bit longer, just to be sure. And then once I've got the length, I think I'm going to put the fittings on either end and then start bending it to the right shape. So let's try and do this. I'm going to put a little bit of slack in, so I don't want to be super accurate, but see, there or thereabouts to be good. And definitely not too short. Just tracing it along. Not sure this is the industry standard technique, but it's going to be pretty close. And then to that corner. Fiddly along the bendy bits. Right, so that is how long the original one measures. Not sure you'll be able to see that, but I can, so that's what counts. So put the screwdriver on the end, like that. Yeah, you can't quite see, can you? So put a little screwdriver on the end. And then we'll measure it with the tape measure. So that comes in at 62 2 centimeters, which is about 24.5 inches long. So 62. So if I cut my pipe 70, that should be ample. I'll get my pipe cutter. Right, so you're very much seeing this live because I've not looked at any of this at all yet. There's no rehearsing here. I'll straighten some pipe out very gently. I don't really need it super straight because I know I'm going to be bending it. Tape measure went back. So 70 centimeters we said, didn't we? A bit longer. Right. $70 takes us to about there. I'll add a little tiny bit because I don't need it exact. Oops. Pipe cutter to go on. Right. This is about there. Ultimately, if I make a mistake, I'll just buy more pipe. I may need a lot more anyway, I'm not sure. When I come to do the rear brakes, I'm going to need a lot more. So it doesn't matter too much. There we go. Right, so we've got a piece of tubing ready. Okay, so I've moved indoors now because I'm doing work that can actually be done at a table as opposed to the workshop. So what I've done so far is mimic the original driver's side brake line. So you can see the two there. This is the original one off the car with the end cut off this end, fitting still here. And I've as closely as I can replicated it. Not sure you can see, but I've not bothered trying to do all the little tiny kinks because I don't think they're necessary. And it's not until I put it into the vehicle I can see and I can just adjust it then. And the actual end piece, you can see I've left it quite a bit longer because what I want to do is get the brake booster in, get the master cylinder in, get the replacement line in, push through, and then because I've cut the end of this one, I don't know exactly how it needs to finish. But with it in place temporarily, I can just work it out, bend it, get it the right length, sort of mark it, and then bring it back in here, cut it, put the end fitting on, and then that's done correctly. At the same time, I can adjust any of this along the way. I mean, it's pretty close, but I have missed out some of the subtleties. You see there's little kinks and things. I've not done those sorts of things because it's probably going around wire pipes and things that I need to discover as I get there. Right, my cat's coming to blue. So next up is the passenger side brake line, which is this really long one. It took quite a bit of threading to get it out. What we're going to do first is just measure it. So I've got my string, and we'll just work out how long I need. So let's just slowly go around, sort of forming it against the pipework. $1 meter and 43. 1 meter 43. Let's put the string out of the way. So there is our pipework. Right, so I'm now going to put a fitting on this end. I've had a fair amount of practice doing these now, as you do when you have to try to learn to do something. Just put a chamfer on the end of it. It's quite a long piece of material, so it's a little bit tricky. I'm just doing it with the file first, and now I'll use some wet and dry, so it's quite fine paper. Right, so putting the tubing in, that needs to be completely flush. In my chair, and I'll rest it in the chair. Right, completely flush at this end here. got the DIN side tool. Okay, so we'll lock that in place. So, slide on the right now. What we need to do is spray a little bit of WD-40 on the end of the pipe, like that. A small amount on the tool. That's slid into place. So we wind the tool in now. Just ensuring it meets. There we go. There is our DIN. Oh. Alright, I appreciate it's quite hard to see exactly what's going on, but all I've done is, obviously I created the flare there, and then I've just slid on the fitting. So now what I'm going to try and do is bend this to the correct shape, using the existing one as a template. With my tool, there's a little bit of just, it's a bit harder because the pipe works so long. Basically just, almost by eye sense, just work my way along. Right. So that's as far as I would take that pipe until we put it on the vehicle and can tell exactly how it's going to fit. It's approximately the right shape, and the last of it's a fetting I can do when it's on the car. I need to, I won't even make this fitting until it's there, so I know the exact length. But that's pretty straightforward. Right, that's two of the front brake lines created. The two I've got here, the longer one goes from the master brake cylinder across to the brake pressure regulator, and the shorter one there, that one there in the middle, goes from the master cylinder down, out the wheel up, through the wheel arch to the front caliper. The next one I'm going to make is from the brake pressure regulator out the wheel arch to the passenger side caliper. And I'll probably remake one of the other lines that come out the master cylinder across the firewall. I think that goes to the brake pressure regulator as well. Right, I'm slowly inching my way around to doing the brake booster. So I've taken the gasket off. I've created a new one using gasket paper. I have to look around where it is. That was pretty straightforward. That fits on there like this. I haven't actually tried it on yet, but it should be okay. I just cut it out with one of those blades. There's nothing special by the looks of it. So that gone there. Now what I need to do is push this, get that out of the way, push the plunger in and lock it on this side. Push it in as far as I can, and then use some kind of sort of Jubilee clip or something just to hold it so it doesn't slide back in. But let's try and do that now. Right, with the help of a friend, I've managed to get a sort of Jubilee clip on there with a washer and a bit of metal just to stop it pulling through. That should pull the plunger in far enough that I can thread that back in through the firewall and then finally sort of get the booster fitted back in the car. Right, so I'm going to try and fit the brake booster now. I think it's going to be pretty tricky. And it's notoriously hard to get it back in that space. I'm also just checking the wiring loom to see which I need to actually push back to be around the back side of it. I think what's that? But I can thread this in a minute, I believe. Let me just look. That loom goes in there. Okay, so that one definitely needs around the back. And this one, I believe, will as well. Right, I'm fairly happy I can thread this around afterwards anyway, but it's quite useful just at least to have an idea what goes where. Let's have a look, see how easy it's going to go in, and that'll just let us know how much of a problem it's going to be. Yeah, okay, it's not going to be too bad actually. It looks like it goes straight in there. Yeah, and that's effectively lined up now. Okay, so it's not a big deal putting it back in. What I would want to do is make sure I've got the correct pipe work on the right side of it before I sort of screw it all back in, but it's certainly not that problematic. It's not quite lined up yet, but it's not far off. Well, I think it's actually dropped in there now actually. So that's approximately where the previous one was. Okay, so I've got the O-ring on the end of the master cylinder. I've put some brake fluid on it, just sort of lubricate it a little bit. I'm just going to try and slide it in there now. Be very careful. Actually, it's gone in really. There we go. Right, perfect. Okay, so let's get a nut on the end of there. Well, unfortunately, that's all I've got time for this week. I've gotten well, but not well enough. I really wanted to get those hard brake lines on the car again, connect them up to the brake calipers, and you know that last little bit. But it's going to have to wait till next week. I remembered I also need to rebuild the hubs. Put the new bearings in, so there's another job that will be on the pile. But I have got the dust shields, so the brake dust shields, I guess they're called, something like that, powder coated, and they've come back and they look fantastic, so looking forward to getting those on the car. But as ever, thank you for watching. Please tune in next week, click subscribe, like and all that stuff as usual, and I'll see you next week.